I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello, Raoul. We can see you.
I can hear you.
There we go. Awesome. Okay,
Can
I
you
think
hear
we're
me?
good. Awesome. Welcome. You're live in Istanbul, a city that's 3,000 years old, if not add another 1,000 on there somewhere. You're in front of a crowd with a couple of thousand people, indeed. So no pressure about what you're going to do. But look, I'm really excited to be talking to you today. And maybe for everyone in the crowd, you're known as a macro investor. We're at a Solana conference today, so we can talk a little bit about that. But maybe just a brief overview. What do you do? What's Real Vision all about? And yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah, so what I do is complicated. I do a lot of things, but essentially the core of what I do is something called Global Macro Investor, which is this basically institutional research service. There's a macro service I've been writing for 20 years. Out of that formed my crypto hypothesis back in 2013. Also out of that came Real Vision, because I realized that people needed to be empowered with their own information to make their own decisions. People didn't trust the system anymore, all part of the same thing. And Real Vision, the idea was to democratize finance, and it's built much beyond that into a platform and a giant community and a whole bunch of things. But my job is really what I'm really trying to do at core is to help people understand the journey of what is going on in the global economy, why it's so broken, and the solutions that we've got in front of us, of which crypto is front and center and always has been.
Well, that's what it's all about. And I think you come to it with more of a philosophical take, which I think is probably, for me, I mean, we've both been in it for a very long time. I'm like 14 years in this clown show, but I think that's the way to start, right? Is a philosophical take of what should money be, and how should we use it? How should it interact with the rest of the economy? And crypto's trying to reinvent that, right? Decentralization and so on. We don't need to rely on a bunch of people that sit around a table, meet once a quarter, and decide what interest rates are anymore. But maybe we can talk a little bit about your quote as well. I'll give the family-friendly version, which is "Don't mess this up." But what are you talking about there?
So,
go ahead.
Listen, how I think about this is most of us come into this crypto space on a certain hook. It might be technology, it might be money, it might be ideals of Web3, it could be NFTs, whatever the hook is that brings you in. Really what we're doing is we're scaling a network which is a public utility good of which we can all have a share of. That's what we're doing here. And it's a game changer because it's the same investment product in every country in the world, whether it's in Istanbul or whether it's in Delhi or whether it's in New York City or here in the Cayman Islands. It's the same product, right? That is incredible. It's also fractionizable. So everybody can put in 10% of their income. So it's egalitarian. There's something really interesting about this. So if we think about this public utility, which we can all invest in. Now, this is an asset class that is $2.5 trillion now. It's the fastest growing technology in the world outside of AI, which has now just become faster. So it's twice the speed of the internet. It also is the fastest appreciating asset of all time is Bitcoin. And many of the other, whether it's Solana, whatever, are all scaling up to Metcalfe's law. But the big picture is really simple. This is going from $2.5 trillion. The end of this cycle will be 10 to 15 trillion, and it's going to 100 trillion. This is going to be the largest, fastest accumulation of wealth in all of humanity. And so the reason I say don't screw this up is you just need to ride the secular trend. And yes, it's difficult because there are big drawdowns in this space because it's driven by liquidity. It's big macro stuff that drives it. But over time, it is a network adoption model, so it's a logarithmic chart. And if you can just hold on and not do the wrong things, don't overtrade, don't have FOMO, don't use too much leverage, just stay in the game, it will compound wealth. And that's how we can help the most number of people, is bringing people into the network and letting the wealth generation machine of number go up work for everybody, because the more people that join the network, the more valuable the network is, creates more money in the ecosystem to develop new protocols and new applications, if Bitcoin hadn't been a success, Solana wouldn't have been a success.
Yeah.
Right. So we all build on top of each other, and we build this incredible applications layer and network layer at the same time. That's what this is all about.
And I guess as well, building on that, there's often there's these two sort of theses out there with the store of value thesis, and that's maybe where Bitcoin comes into play. And then you have maybe the smart contract chain thesis, and sometimes I guess, I'm curious your take, but people seem to mix them up. They maybe think that a smart contract chain is trying to be a Bitcoin, or a Bitcoin should try to be something else. But are these fundamentally two different things? Are we building maybe one with a financial system and maybe one with an equivalent to gold? Or what's your thought on maybe this differentiation of why these crypto assets should be valued such that they are?
Because Apple and Google and Amazon are all internet companies, yet they're all different. Yet they all use the same technology, which is the internet. So what we're using is the technology of blockchain, and people are developing different use cases and variations of the technology stack. And so I think of the world in terms of abundance and not as a finite pie, where you're fighting over the pie. That can't be so, because it's gone from $0 to $2.5 trillion. And if it goes to that, the pie is growing. So what we've got is a bunch of incredibly smart people solving different problems. And like all startups, because many of these are still startups, some won't get product market fit, and others will get product market fit. So there's space for everybody. There's space for multiple narratives, different business models, because in the end, at protocol layer, everyone's just selling block space. It's nothing that fancy. We dress it up with a lot. We just sell block space. Is my block space more attractive than your block space for the use case that you've got? If I build block space that's not attractive to you, it won't work over time. It's pretty simple. Everybody loves to overcomplicate everything in this space.
They do, and they often invent words every other day, right? And we have to contest with this new dictionary being created. But I guess one of the big things that's happened recently, and I guess looking at it as an investment asset, is the ETFs, right? So the ETFs went live. We now have these very large ETFs with, I think, it was top 10 ETF inflows ever, or something like that, to the spot Bitcoin ones. Is this an ongoing trend? Are we going to see maybe more of these ETFs look at some of these other maybe smart contract chains, or just other things other than Bitcoin? Or is it really as you say, like it's not a winner takes all. There's space for everything, and yeah, maybe we see multiple of these ETFs. Like, what's your take on sort of where do they go next?
Okay, let me reframe all of everything in terms of what these ETFs are. And again, I'm going to try and make it pretty simple. Crypto land is a new digital economy. If you think of Balaji and his network state idea, right, we're building a giant network state, which is crypto land. It's made up of substates: Bitcoin land, Solana land, Ethereum land. And many of us just live entirely within that space. But we may visit fiat world because we live there, but we do a lot of our transactions, and a lot of wealth stays within crypto land. It's a new emerging market economy, and it's the fastest growing emerging market economy on the world. Okay, fabulous. We've got, much like all economies, we have foreign direct investment, FDI. FDI flows venture capital that comes from fiat world and goes into crypto land and starts building crypto land. What the ETF is a free trade agreement between crypto land and fiat world. So these are hot money flows. It allows capital to come in and take advantage of the higher rate of return in this new emerging economy. And so what happens is that money then pours into this new small economy, and the economy grows, and people go out the risk curve, and they start buying other assets. So it benefits the entire economy. As profits are generated, it causes people to start new businesses, and because there's more money in that economy, they use that for venture capital to build new application layers and stuff like that. So that's how I frame this. So I'm indifferent to whether different products come. They will come, and I do think the Ethereum one gets across the line, but really it's not so much that, it's the free trade pipes that we're allowing to happen. So now you can be fiat world investor, and you don't actually have to go outside of fiat world. You don't have to open a wallet and do all of that stupid stuff that we do in our land. They can just take advantage of the higher rate of returns. The downside is it's hot money flows, so it can leave as well. And that's typical of emerging market economies. So you're in Turkey. Turkey's seen this endless cycle of hot money inflows, hot money outflows, foreign direct investment going up and down. It's the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess here in the audience today, we have thousands of people that are maybe also looking to get a job in this new economy as well. And when we're talking at it at a stage of an economy level, does that like a normal economy, let's say a country of Turkey, right? You've got people from the kebab shop owner to an investment fund to a guy selling you a boat trip on the weekend somewhere. So you've got lots of different elements of the economy. In crypto land, we have a lot of online things. And do you think that this economy will continue to grow into different ways? So a lot of people are trying to do RWAs. They're trying to tokenize stuff. They're trying to do these. Obviously, we have DEXs and trading and speculation and that sort of thing. But do you think there's a place for people to derive their income from this magical internet land, and therefore they're not encumbered by the borders of whether it's Turkey or the UK or wherever you might be? It's this global economy that everyone has a part of, but do we run the risk of it's only available in certain areas, or do you think we're at the bottom of the mountain now, and maybe there's still more things that are yet to grow in this economy? What's your take?
Yeah, so look, this is a new world for us. We're now living in a duality. So I'm physically in the Cayman Islands. You're physically, in Turkey right now, maybe you're in the UK, you pay taxes to your domestic economy for your use there. You do the same in crypto land. It's called gas fees.
Yep.
Right? So you're paying taxes in the economy that you operate within. So we will all operate in this dual world. But because of the speed of adoption of this new country, it's like the United States back in 100 and something years ago, it encourages an enormous amount of risk-taking, speculation, and then entrepreneurship. And we see that. So people are saying, okay, this system is a great way of building new products and solving different problems, the problems of Web 2, let's say. But then we've got the giants, the absolute giants of fiat world saying, actually, this country is a better way of doing things. And so when I think about, the real prize in all of this lands in two places. One is the kind of overhauling of Web 2, where we get ownership of our own selves back again. That's a battle we're going to fight, right? That's a huge battle. We're going to fight it again in AI. But the other side is, I think, all of the financial system comes across. Now, to put that in perspective, most things in all of finance are just contracts. And we happen to have a bloody good way of operating contracts at scale that are immutable and written in code.
Absolutely.
So that means, let's say, something simple like the OTC derivative market. That's a $1.4 quadrillion market. They're just contracts. Then we think of the blockchain rail of, and that's why Firedancer, for example, has been very interesting to me, is when you can get enough speeds for the financial system, well, then it's a lot of proof of ownership at speed and instant settlement, which the financial system struggles with. So we're actually solving enormous problems for a larger part, which is why I've always said that this new economy is going to get much more migration across from the traditional economy, because people just can operate better there. It's just cheaper, faster, better. It's like the United States. If you want to be an entrepreneur, maybe not in Web3, because it's awful to be an entrepreneur in Web3 in the US. Yes. But otherwise, if you're in technology, you want to be in the US. Why? Because the capital, the intellectual capital, everything is there, the regulatory framework, and that's what we're building.
Absolutely. And maybe an example of that is kind of what you're doing with Real Vision right now. Is you're one of these companies that's trying to find its way in this new economy, and doing a great job, by the way. But maybe you can maybe talk us through the journey of building Real Vision to what it is now, and how does Is there a way that you guys fit into this new crypto economy? I know, obviously, you know, a lot of your content revolves around that. And hey, anyone with a phone, we can be here in Istanbul and we can be looking up Real Vision and you know, doing whatever we're doing, right? So you can service your products to 7 billion people around the world. What's the founder's journey been like, or how do you think that you fit into this crypto world?
Well, at first, you know, the idea, the essence was to democratize this information. The very first video we made in 2014 had Bitcoin in it.
There you go.
So it's always been part of our journey. And if we're just thinking about the crypto side of things, what we're really trying to do is educate people about the opportunity, also why you need to take advantage of the opportunity. A lot of things don't work, but let's go and look at what works. And we go down the rabbit hole in everything, you know, whether it's NFTs or meme coins, you know, we kind of examine, okay, what is happening within this economy. Now, as we've evolved, you know, we've got an NFT community called Real Vision Genesis. We've got an NFT community called the Real Vision Collective. We've got somebody spun up a meme coin community called DTFU, which is the don't fuck this up. Meme coin, nothing to do with us, but it's a bunch of our members. So that's them using our network to build on top of. You know, obviously we accept crypto payments, but that's only the start of our ambition with what we want to do. You know, we've got ZK logins to do, identities to do. We've got maybe our eventual kind of loyalty token program. Doesn't have to be a freely traded crypto. What are we going to do with content authentication because of AI? Well, that feels like that's blockchain. There's a lot we want to do with this outside of just educating people, bringing people in, giving them some of the tools. We want to start building what we do on the Web3 layer and trying to abstract it away as much as possible. Because, you know, that's the other clunky issue we've got now, is it's very not abstracted. You know, it's awful, bridging stuff across and then, you know, all sorts of just horror stories. But eventually we'll get there. You know, the technology is being built. There's a lot of people building great tech stacks to do this. So that's our journey. Is the proof is in the pudding as well. So yeah, NFTs were part of that. The community side, token gated content, we've done that. We've done, you know, POAPs for attendance, all sorts of stuff. So we keep iterating and experimenting.
Wow, I had no idea you guys are doing so much. I mean, what it comes down to is you use the word community and NFTs as well. This is a word that's used a lot in the NFT world. Now, there's no Starbucks Discord that we all go and join. We don't join the McDonald's, you know, hangout group on Twitter or something like that. So I guess there's quite a difference between the crypto communities that we're building, and it seems like there's a lot more connectivity between people. They're much more engaged. Maybe as a business founder, maybe this is actually a great way to grow a business, is if you can build this community that creates loyalty. I mean, maybe this is just the evolution of, I don't know, a Starbucks gift card or voucher or something that you punch and you get something free. Like, is this maybe a new way that businesses should look at monetizing themselves or getting out there, as growing a community?
So it's even bigger than that. What this is culture, and culture and brand are intangibles on a balance sheet. So Disney is actually not that valuable these days because the stock struggles. Disney's brand and culture around it is gigantic.
Huge.
Maybe it's $1 trillion, maybe more. Tokenization can turn an intangible on a balance sheet to a tangible. But to do that, you kind of have to do the opposite of what corporations are used to, which is total control. You have to let the community take control. And that's hard for people to do, but brands are experimenting. I'm really excited about that space. You know, what is the size? Well, we can see the size of the Taylor Swift economy because she actually moved US GDP.
I saw that,
it's that big. Okay, so that's clearly an opportunity to create a passionate, thriving community that could be tokenized in certain ways, whether it's NFTs or whether it's a token itself. And I do think, and I've spoken to many, many brands. In fact, I built a business on this. We didn't manage to survive the bear market, but the idea is that all of this culture will get tokenized in a way that is meaningful. Because in a world of AI, when it becomes less obvious what we're going to do for a living, being a community member and driving culture is very human. and it can't be replaced by a machine. So if we can derive value from being part of a community and helping that community grow, okay, well, there's a purpose for humanity, much like religion did. You know, people go to a church, they put money in the thing, the Catholic Church gets the money. It's the same idea, but at a internet globalized scale.
I love it. Yeah, I think that focus on community is maybe something that Web3 and NFT world and all that sort of stuff has really brought to the fore. Maybe switching gears again back to more of the investment side and how to sort of get involved in this community and how to like the people here in the audience, you know, people want to be involved. So what would be sort of your comments on how should people be involved in this growing economy? What should they do? Should they go to school for 12 years and study a degree that makes no sense and get into debt and all that sort of stuff? Or maybe they should learn to code. A lot of people are saying that, right? Or maybe they should, I don't know, do something else. Like, how can people be involved in this new world? And yeah, I'm curious your take.
So I've always found the journey is the same, is whatever hook it is that gets you into buying a token. That's a start. Now you've got something you want number to go up. Right, it's perfect behavioral incentive system. It's like the best I've ever seen. So now you want number to go up. So now you start talking to other people about how the number can go up. Now, it depends what you're good at. If you're an artist, well, you've got NFTs. That's a community for you to start getting into. You're a music artist. Well, there's a bunch of people trying to struggle to get that off the ground too. Maybe you're a developer. Okay, there's plenty you can do there in figuring out how you can use your skills. Maybe you're an influencer, or you've got a small community of your own. Well, can you bring that community along? Or maybe you're just passionate about something, and there will be a Web3 representation of that community somewhere. So just get involved. So don't force a narrative. You're never going to get me to go into the developer community because I don't know what I'm doing. But you can get me to get into NFTs, music, media, all sorts of other areas. So it's find where your passion lies and then lend your hand, lend your brains, or just be involved, make things vibrant. Just being an active community member. Let's say you are a Solana investor, one of the NFT communities you're in. Well, be active, help grow it, help, or whether it's Solana itself, help educate people, get them to understand. And then number go up, more people come into the network, the more valuable the network is because more people are building new applications on the network. So it really is simple that we can all play our part in whatever we do.
Absolutely, and here at the conference, we've got all sorts of different Solana applications. We've got people roaming around the audience that are doing really cool things, many billion-dollar protocols sitting around. So definitely go out, go and meet these people, engage, see what can be done. I guess coming up to time here as well, one final sort of question is, what are you excited about we're almost halfway through the year now. That's shocking, but what are you excited about in 2024? Maybe particularly on the crypto side, and maybe any of your thoughts on Solana or anything like that, but just in general, what's exciting to you for the rest of this year?
What's exciting me in this rest of this year, from a macro perspective, it's like we're in the middle of the election cycle, the liquidity cycle, all of that. So it kind of gets fun at this point, and people lose their minds. So we're going to be in the middle of that. So I always look forward to that. Sleepless nights, not from the horror of markets going down, but of the market going up. But I'm actually excited about all of the VC money that went into 2020 and 2021 to see what applications people build. The new blockchain technologies or just the applications layer. We know we've got a UX problem. People are solving that. There's some cool stuff happening. We know we've had complications with how complicated things like DEXs are. Well, we're seeing things resolve there too. The big one for me, particularly in Solana, is, look, there's a lot of applications layer stuff. That's what drew me to Solana. It's like, it's something that can be very retail-led, and the applications layer is very interesting. But Firedancer, people don't understand. They still don't. Yeah. They still don't understand how big a deal this really is, because the speed of what things can be done changes use cases. And if you change use cases by a quantum leap, we'll see. It won't be this cycle.
Thank you so much for your time today, Raoul. And for everyone, definitely go and follow the links. But all the best for the rest of today.
Take care, everybody. Enjoy Istanbul.
Bye-bye.